Welcome back to another Unhinged Essentials. So again, I've got Miss Mickey hanging out with me. Hey, hey, hey.
Hey guys, how's everything going?
So Miss Mickey does have current events ready to go. So let's listen
Absolutely.
to them current events and see what's going on.
All right, for April 15th, we've got major headlines, including the escalating U.S.-Mexico border tensions with the military deployment.
Okay, I haven't
Legal
heard anything
battle.
about that. What's going on there?
Well,
Any update? Any
the
news?
Trump administration is increasing pressure on the border and ordering military involvement and seeking to expand the detention facilities.
Oh wow.
So that's
Okay.
all they have reported on it so far.
Okay. Cool. All right. Go ahead.
So then we've got our international relations. Salvador's president, Nayib Bukele, discussed a controversial deportation case with the White House, and they left it at that. So not
Like
sure
deportation?
exactly.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah, that's what it said. A controversial deportation case. So
Oh,
apparently, like
no
maybe just one or
specifics?
two people,
Oh,
but
okay.
they've left it at that.
Okay. All right.
And on the educational department, we've got Harvard University faces a 2.2 billion freeze in federal grants and 60 million in contracts from the federal government, according to the Democracy Now!
Okay.
Not sure why. They did not give any reasons. So we have an international protest. Pro-Palestinians protesters disrupt traffic on the Golden Gate Bridge and in Seattle on tax day, notes the Washington Post.
Okay.
So I guess they don't want everybody filing their taxes. I don't know.
I mean, I'd be okay not filing taxes. I had to pay in this year. It was ridiculous.
Yeah,
Anyway.
that sucks. It very much does.
Mm-hmm.
Thousands protested in the, I do not know how to pronounce this word, but I'm going to do my best, Tbilisi against a foreign agent laws with reports and arrests. So,
All right. Yeah, I have no clue.
not sure what that one is either.
Yeah.
Singapore leadership, Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong, I believe, announced his registration for May 15th. The Lawrence Wrong set to succeed him. So I guess he's stepping down. Somebody's going to take over for him.
Okay. All
Our
right.
historic events are in 1912, the RMS Titanic sank in the North Atlantic.
Oh, wow. We talked
Yeah.
about that last week, didn't we?
Yeah, because it's that voyage.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it
Wow.
sank today.
Oh.
And then in 1865, President Abraham Lincoln died after being shot the previous evening.
Wow.
So he got shot on the 14th.
So he
obviously.
actually lived for a while after.
Well, he died the next day. So because he got shot on the 14th.
I kind of feel like
15th.
back in the day, like their healthcare was probably not so great. So it was
Well,
like,
and they didn't have all the medical advantages we have now.
oh yeah, 100%, yeah.
So, and then in 1947, Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in Major League Baseball.
Okay,
So they could go, black and white.
okay,
The
cool.
Boston Marathon bombing occurred in 2013.
I remember that.
Yeah, that wasn't even that long ago.
No.
And 2019, a fire caused major damage to the North Dame Cathedral in Paris.
Okay.
And that is our history for today.
Okay, so on the nursing side of this, we've got stress and burnout. So it's looking like, just from what I'm looking at, 65% of nurses reporting high stress and 40% unsure they would choose nursing again. I will just throw this in here. No, I wouldn't. No. No.
Like I said, I don't have the whole nursing thing, but I have home health. And I'll tell you what, there's days when I was doing home health that I would never do it again.
Yeah, no. I think, like, if I would have had other options, I probably would have done those. Yeah. Staffing shortages. So it's still a major significant concern. 6% projected shortfalls in RNs by 2035. Yeah, I think that's unfortunate. It's like, nursing is not an awful job, but with the stress related to it, it makes it much
here's the deal on that too. I mean, Cole, in my perspective, sorry.
Yeah, just caught that.
There
We'll have to
are
fix that.
some people can handle a high stress environment, and some people cannot. And nursing is a very high stress environment. But if they had the staffing they needed, the stress would be way less.
Well, and I agree with that. I feel like, I don't feel like, I don't know. It's like if you have like a team nursing environment, I think it makes it much better, where everybody's pitching in, everybody's
Absolutely.
helping. But that's not what you always get. It's always
No.
like everybody's out for themselves. And it's kind of unfortunate. It's like,
It's turning into a cutthroat business.
well,
If
I
that
mean,
makes
and
sense.
it's kind of coming back to like the whole nurses ether young. I'm like,
Yeah.
why would you do that? Let's train them up. Let's get them to where they need to be. Let's encourage them to learn. Let's get them in situations where they have to learn,
Well, absolutely, because when you put a nurse in a situation that she's never been in or he's never been in before, you're asking for disaster if it's something critical.
Yeah, and you have to consider like the drips. They're not going to be familiar with those. They don't know what to do with them. And
Right.
I remember like back in the day, like I guess I was a baby RN at the time, and it was like I had a friend who was like she was trying to start a drip on a patient. She's like, I have no flipping clue what I'm doing. And she was like, I just keep recycling the pressure to see if it's coming up or not. And I'm like, that sounds like a good plan. Let's do that,
Right. Because
And
nothing was ever put out to them.
yeah, it's like so in this specific nurse was a traveler, which probably shouldn't have been since they haven't had the experience. But
Right.
it's like you kind of learn on the fly, and that's the unfortunate thing about it. And especially like with emergency room nurses, you have to have some kind of an experience. You have to kind of know what you're doing because you're going to be put in situations that's going to leave you like, oh shit, what do I do?
Absolutely.
And it's like it gets hard. It's like you have to at least be somewhat familiar. Like, I'm not going to lie, I have cards on my badge that I have to go back and look at and be like, okay, what can I run this at? How often do I bump this up? Is it, like I have to look at
Right.
things, and there's still medications that I have no damn clue what I'm doing with.
Well, one of my favorite shows is Life in the ER or things, about the ER. I love watching those kind of shows. And I watched one just the other day where a lady came in. She did not know she was pregnant, or she says she didn't know. I don't know how that really, you don't know. I just don't get that part. But she was literally in full-blown labor, but she was only like 4.5 months along.
Okay.
And the ER staff knows how to deliver a baby, but after the baby's delivered, they had no resources for this baby. None. It was a very small hospital, very small town. And so they're trying to get a breathing tube down a baby whose throat's closed, and all their tubes are not for infants. They're for, small children, not infants or adults.
Yeah.
And so it was very trying for them, but one of the guys got it. And, but like he said, if I hadn't have worked in another hospital, a bigger hospital that had stuff like this occurring all the time, he said, I wouldn't have known what to do.
Well, and that's a lot of the thing you get into. Like, people don't understand, like, when you come to a hospital, if they don't have OB services, they have very little means to take care of a baby, especially
Right.
if it's high risk or if the baby's born and is not breathing and they have to put in, ET tubes and things like that. It makes it a
Right.
lot it's just, if you know that you're pregnant, go to the biggest flipping hospital you can find that has OB
Yeah, well,
services.
she supposedly didn't know, which, like I said, I'm controversial on that because I don't see how you don't know you're pregnant.
Well, and I don't think that you don't actually know you're pregnant. I think
don't
you
either,
claim
honestly.
that. I think you
I mean,
claim
I've
that.
been pregnant several times, and every time I was pregnant, I knew. Every
Yeah.
time.
I mean, I think it's a way of people being like not held responsible for what they've done.
In denial.
Yeah,
I know young children who say, I didn't know I was pregnant, are probably in denial, not thinking that they really are pregnant because they don't want to get kicked out of their home, or they don't want to disappoint mom and dad, or whatever.
Or just embarrassed in general. Yeah.
Right. Well,
But
don't do the crime, you don't do the time.
yeah. But okay, continuing with the nursing thing. So it says on here that LPNs and LVNs. So LPNs certain parts of the country, LVNs other parts of the country. They're only going to be able to satisfy 80% of the demand in 2027. So not so many people going for LPN and LVN.
Right.
Work-life balance is another issue with nursing. 67% of student nurses expressing anxiety about managing their workload. I get that. Yeah.
Because there's not enough staff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is even just nursing students. It's like with nursing, it's demanding. Like, even in school, it's demanding. Like, you have to learn.
Very
Does
much,
it, I mean, it doesn't show you how to be a nurse. It shows you more how to pass the boards. You don't really get the meat and potatoes of it until you go into nursing, wherever you're going to go. If you're going to be a ER nurse, ICU nurse, med surg, whatever, that's where you get your specific training. Like, I feel like nursing school is just based on passing the boards. That's all they care.
So there is a brand new nursing program at a college in Oklahoma that actually has literally hands-on right there at the school. They have a whole wing they built just for nursing. It's got animated infants, children, adults, and elderly. And you have to tend to them just like you would anybody else. And it's their new program to help these upcoming nurses understand what they're going to be doing and know how to do it and be able to practice it literally on an animatronic life-like person.
Well, like back in the day, they actually trained nurses in hospitals. That's how they did it.
Wow.
And, getting away from that, I kind of wonder if that affected how nursing roles played out.
I'm sure it did. I'm sure it affected it in a big way.
It did, because you don't have you have clinicals. So you go in and you do so much for, you do the things, but they train nurses actually in hospitals where, it was probably kind of backwoods, because pretty much I think from what I've understood is the nurses had to give up their lives at home. Like, they moved into the hospital. That's where they did all their training. That's what they did. That's what defined them.
Nurses back then as well, because they had the knowledge.
Well, and that's what defined them. They had so much classwork they had to do. They had so much hands-on that they had to do. Is today's way better than back then? I don't know. I really don't. Do I see?
Yes, some ways no.
Yeah, do I see nurses not so prepared? Yes.
Yes.
And I think
you see nurses that know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, and I don't know their backgrounds. I've seen seasoned LPNs come in as new RNs and still struggle. And it's
right.
A lot of it is time management and being able to do the things.
Right.
LPNs, LVNs, they have the hands-on skills, which is great because that kind of gives them a heads up. They know how to go in and start a catheter. They know how to go in and start an IV. They know the basics. But when you come into time management, okay, so you have a patient that's constipated, okay, and then you have a patient that is hypotensive. What's going to be your first move? What are you going to do? Are you going to go take care of constipation, or are you going to take care of hypotensive? That's where they struggle.
Take care of hypertension, but
yes, but when you're in but when you're in the heat of the moment, and you have 3 different patients, one's constipated, can't talk, words are hard.
Well, also too, it depends. Is the constipation so bad that they're vomiting bowel?
Well, even again, you still have to look at, is the vital signs stable on that patient?
Right.
You know, like,
I mean,
so
it
you
just
have,
depends on the situation on
right.
which one would really come first.
So you have constipated, you have tachycardic, and you have hypotensive. Who's more important? And that's where like a lot of nurses struggle. They're like, okay, what do I do? So constipated is going to take more time.
Right.
If I just throw something on this hypotensive fluid, do I have time to take care of the hypotensive over watching this? You know, I
The
mean, it's,
tachycardia, yeah.
yeah, I mean, there's like so many factors, but when you have prioritizing is like a big issues with new nurses. They just don't understand that constipated is going to be constipated no matter what.
Right. That
Hypotensive is going to be
tachycardia can kill you.
hypotensive until you fix the hypotension.
Right.
Tachycardia, how bad is the tachycardia? Do they need to be cardioverted? You know, there's just so many issues that,
And there's so many different scenarios that they have to look at.
yeah,
It's just choosing the right path, and they don't get that option in training. That's
no.
the problem.
So is the old way of training nurses the better way, or is sticking them through a school for so many years and then throwing them out there and be like, figure it out and hope you don't lose your license before you get on, you know?
Right. And
It's,
that's scary for a nurse too, because they have to stop and think, if I do this wrong, I'm done.
yeah, I mean, I think like time management is a big issue. So I feel like back in the day when they came into a program and they were required to do so much education, so much floor time, that they probably got better training because they had more hands on. They
Right.
got
And
to
if they
actually
stayed
see
at the
how things.
facilities or stayed, right there on the grounds of the facilities, then they had better opportunities to learn.
Yeah, I mean, and so there's a lot of like, I don't know. So work life balance. Nursing
That's,
does not give you that.
yeah,
It
I
doesn't.
believe you're right.
It doesn't. It's like when you're in school, you're either studying, taking tests, or reading. That's all you're doing.
Well, you need more hands on. I know that.
Yeah, and I agree with that. You do need a lot of hands on. But, like LPNs and LVNs, I started out as an LPN, so I had a lot of hands on experience. It wasn't so much the education part of it, it was more hands
Right.
on. And do I get something from that? 100%, because I was more capable of doing wound care, catheters, things like that. So there's a lot into that. Mental health support. So there's a lack of resources and support services for nurses.
Mental
Again, it
health in the
stems.
nursing field is a hard thing to touch base on anyway.
It is. There's a lot of stress and there's a lot of burnout. And a lot of the burnout, a lot of the stress is lack of support because you just don't have it. I mean, you don't. It's like all these hospitals, they look at the bottom line. So we're seeing, oh, I don't even know, we're seeing
Well, a lot of it too.
4,000 people in a month. So,
Right. And a lot of it is lack of communication.
well, it's not even just communication. It's the fact that understaffing and then not having the support that you need from administration, upper management, things like that, that's adding to stress and burnout. It's like you can throw 600 people at a facility, and if the facility is not capable of taking care of those 600 people, what are you doing? You're throwing it
Right.
on two or three nurses that are killing themselves trying to keep an ER or a med surg floor or an ICU running. You have to have the support, and that's like the biggest thing. And even like with lack of communication, it's like if you don't have a team environment, it makes it harder.
Yes, absolutely.
It's like you need to know the specifics, especially from administration and upper management. If upper
Well,
management
and
and administration are
administration's a
failing,
big part of it.
well, it is because they're the ones that determine whether your staffing is going to be this or this.
Right.
And it's not okay to have 20,000 people in a month and not have the staffing to cover the 20,000.
Right.
Especially like, and it comes down to like even night shift and day shift. Day shift can have 50 people on it, but if you have 3 nurses on night shift and no other support, you still get patients at night. It doesn't change.
Right. And night's usually busier than day, to be honest.
No, really, it's not. So I was a night shifter.
Yeah.
I switched to days recently, and day shift is, oh my God. Like, I'm fat, I'm old, and I'm like, oh my God. When I get home, all I want to do is shower and go to bed. Like, day shift is busy as shit, but still, night shift is busy too, especially like when they first come on. They're like, every room full, you have EMS waiting, you have people in the waiting room, and you only have so much coverage for so much time. So when time runs out, say you have your triage nurse until midnight. What happens after midnight? Especially when you're staying until, like, when you're seeing so many people until 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
So you're still losing one of your nurses in the back because they're having to make sure that these people are triaged because you only have a limited amount of time that you can triage people in. Especially
Right.
like if you get a stroke or a chest pain, Lord forbid. Chest pains, EKGs, 10 minutes. Get them done. Get it out. Strokes, you have their last known well is from the time that they were normal until they're not. And so if they come in and it's been 3 hours since they were last known well, you only have an hour to get everything done. So it cuts your times.
Yeah. Very trying.
So, yeah, we kind of got off the mental health support situation,
No, that's okay. I mean,
but
it's a good topic, though.
yeah, but like mental health, like nurses are stressed. They like, and it's not only nurses, it's nurses, techs, it's actually anybody who has anything to do with the community. It's you certainly need the mental health support. Um,
Definitely.
I mean, I know a lot of nurses who are seeking help. It's like, okay, I need somebody to talk to because if I don't, I'm going to be that crazy psycho. You know what I mean?
And
So
that's important, though. Having that communication is extremely important.
it is. I mean, you really need it.
You do. It's 100% going to help, in the long run anyway.
Yeah. And so then the last one on the nursing perspective, or I can't talk. Okay, words are hard, guys. So the last one that we're going to talk about is competitive pay and benefits. So I will never, 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 never understand why nursing benefits are worse than any other job, considering we're healthcare.
Yeah, I don't understand that either.
I 100% do not understand that at
Well,
all.
I don't understand why people like nurses, and I'm going to jump off topic for just a second. People like nurses and people like military and people like firefighters and stuff don't reap the benefits that football players reap or singers reap. Why do they have all these benefits and get paid so much to do something they love when people's lives are on the line? And those football players, those singers, the nurses are the ones that are there for them in the end.
Yeah, I mean, we all seen that. I guess there was a football player, I don't even remember. It was probably a year ago that collapsed on the field and they had to do CPR, the whole thing. And like, it was traumatizing to everybody that watched it. It's like, okay, think about this, guys. This is
Absolutely.
something that nurses see, doctors see, EMTs, first responders, paramedics. We see this stuff almost every day.
Right.
And you think it's traumatizing for you. Think about for your nursing staff, your paramedics, your ER doctors, even your hospitalists, your things like that. We see this every day.
But that's
And
why I say things are backwards, because without the nurses and the EMTs and the firefighters and the first responders of any kind, without them, these people that are living high on the hog and making the money and getting the benefits and not having to worry about a damn thing in the world, why is the nurses on the other side of the fence? It should be reversed. The
I feel
nurses
like
and First responders should be making that money and reaping those benefits.
I feel like, I don't know. It's like popularity is what governs everything. It's like, oh, he's a great football player. Okay, well, that's awesome. But what about that nurse that goes in and saves his ass when he has cardiac arrest?
Exactly.
It's like, and guys, I'm not knocking football players. I know it's hard
I'm not
work.
either. I'm not knocking
I know,
anybody. I'm
I
just
know
wondering
that.
why, the nurses are on the other side of the field and not, in comparison with the high rollers.
Right. I mean, well, it's not even just nurses, it's healthcare in general. I mean, because
Right.
honestly, if it wasn't for healthcare workers, a lot of people would be struggling. It's like, it's like,
A lot of people would be dead, let's be honest.
okay, so true. But, I think it's unfortunate that people look at healthcare workers as subservient because we're not.
Yeah.
Like your nurses are the ones that's looking at these physician orders. So if a physician puts in an order that's incorrect, it's up to the nurse to catch that.
Right.
Because
if you don't and you do what's on those orders and something happens, you're responsible, not the doctor.
yeah, I mean, like if a provider came in and said, let's go ahead and just do I'm going to make up something stupid. I'm 100%
Go
going
for
to.
it.
But let's say that he ordered 600 milligrams of Decadron. Okay, well, we don't do those kind of doses. That's not.
What is Decatron for?
Decadron's a steroid.
Oh, okay.
And, I mean, you have to watch these orders. Or if they order Levofed give them 100 milligram push. No, we're not going to do that. No. What? No. And if there are nurses out there doing that and I have no clue, okay, you can call my ass out because, yeah, I mean, it was something I would question. I'd be like, why am I doing this? Okay, so why am I doing this? I don't understand.
Right.
So it's really up to your nurses. So think about this, guys. When you come into an ER and these physicians are putting in orders, and I'm not knocking physicians. They have a lot to do. They have a lot to look at. They have a lot to deal with. So look at your nurses like, okay, they're looking at these orders and they're going to know something's not right. And it's up to them to call out that physician. And I'm not saying call out, like question.
Just inform them.
Yeah, say, hey, you ordered this. Okay. Like, I think at one point in my career, I had a resident. He was a baby dog. Okay. And ordered 30 milligrams of Decadron. And I'm like, that is a large dose. Why are we doing this? And I questioned it. And of course it was wrong. So it just needed to be fixed. Like there was another incident that I had some rando antibiotic orders for a patient. And I'm like, why are we doing this for this patient? That's not even the reason they're here. And so again, I questioned and I was like, so why are we doing Vanc and why are we doing Zosyn on this? Oh, it was just a mistake. So we just have to fix it. It was ordered on the wrong room. So, like coming back to lack of experience with these new nurses, because you have to watch those things. It's like if the order doesn't make sense for the patient or the reason that they're there,
you have to question it.
You do.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm not familiar with all the hospital stuff, but I know in home health we have to deal with a lot of crap there too. So
yeah, I mean, home health is a whole different situation. So
it is, and you don't have near the experience, nor do you have the equipment to do anything that you would have to do in an emergency situation.
No, I mean, y'all are pretty much limited to call 911 immediately.
Yes.
Yeah.
And start CPR.
Yeah. I mean, have you been put in that situation before?
I have. I actually had a deceased patient that I had to, they deceased on my shift. And I had to, do CPR on, call 911, the whole 9 yards. Yeah, I've had that happen more than once.
Did they survive or no?
No, they were very much elderly and very
Okay.
much really probably didn't want to survive at that point.
I got you.
You
Okay.
know,
All right. Fair enough.
yeah. Yeah, no, it's happened several times, and it's not fun. I will tell you that it is not fun.
No, no. I mean, like CPR, coding, stress, all that. It's like
Yeah,
it's hard. It really is.
it's
And
stressful. It's very stressful.
oh, 100%. I mean, it's
I think the thing that bothers me the most about doing stuff like that, like in a home health, because you're in the individual's home, and you know they're elderly, or they have physical and mental challenges. You know that they're not, in the best of shape, and making that phone call to the family, that
yeah.
is probably the hardest thing for me. I
So
can have patients die in my arms and take care of them as they take their last breath, and I'm okay. But calling that family to say, hey, this just happened, you need to come, and that's the hardest thing for me. That really
so
emotionally weighs on me.
was this a situation that you were doing like live-in care, or was it a situation that you
No,
walked
I
in?
did a 12-hour shift.
Okay.
Uh, I swapped out with another girl, and she did the night, I did the day.
Okay.
And I just, yeah, it was the hardest part for me is making that phone call.
Yeah. I mean, trying to bring it to the family. I think like where I get uncomfortable is when you have to go ask them the questions. It's like because you have to get funeral home, you have to get like medical
Right.
background, like medications they were
Well,
taking. What
a
were they
lot
doing
of the
before it
patients,
happened?
a lot of the patients that I did care for, all of that stuff was already in order because, like I said, most of them were elderly,
Uh huh.
and most of them were either mentally or physically challenged, and they were not in the best of health anyway. So most families, to be very honest, had most of that stuff in order. They had a packet on the refrigerator, they had a packet in a dresser drawer, something that had all the information that I had to, make phone calls on.
So you
So
were left up to doing all the phone calls. You didn't even
yes,
like you didn't have somebody
yes,
to back you or anything like that.
no, no. And the agency that I worked for was, I don't mean to put any agency down, but they were not a very good one. They were what I consider to be poop.
I
And
gotcha.
they did not care about their staff. They
Oh
only
wow.
cared how many clients they could get under them.
So more focused on money than anything else.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And don't spend their money on the grocery stores and stuff unless you absolutely have to. Let the family replace what they need.
Oh
That was their
wow.
philosophy.
Yeah, that's awful. That is
It
awful.
is awful. And
Yeah.
I didn't work there very long, but I worked there long enough to have two clients pass away on my shifts.
Oh
Um,
wow. So
yeah,
did
one of
you
them was
find
like
them
97 years old.
or was it a situation that
No,
they
like my 97-year-old lady that I cared for, she actually had a heart attack.
Oh wow.
And
Okay.
yeah, and I mean, it was so fast. I did CPR and everything until the ambulance got there, but she was gone. She was long gone before they ever got there.
I think that's what
There
I
wasn't
like
anything I could
about
do to
doing the
help her.
hospital thing is, you have your physician right there. So it's like when you have to go and tell the family the bad news or whatever, that they are there to support you. And typically they're the ones that will give them the news, tell them what happened, what we
Right.
did, all the things. And, like there's situations that they will actually bring the family in, especially when it's somebody who's young and we
Yeah,
can't get
not
them
in home
back.
health. They don't do that
Yeah,
way because you're there by
unfortunately.
yourself.
Yeah, I mean, and that's an unfortunate thing. It really is.
It's
So
not
we
easy,
kind of
but
hit some deep stuff today.
absolutely.
Wow. Okay. So, guys, I think we're going to end this one right now. Mickey had a lot of input today. I'm kind of excited about that. She's been kind of staying backish, but
I'll try to have more later too.
but I am so glad that everybody came and joined us today. It was great to talk.
Absolutely.
Mickey, of course, as always, love talking to you. Enjoyed it.
Enjoyed
And
talking with everybody.
yeah, we actually focused a lot on nursing today. That was kind of cool. Um, Healthcare in general, I guess. Um,
Yes.
but anyway, so we will end this episode here, I guess. Sound good?
Sounds good. Y'all have a great day.
All right. Loves, hugs, cuddles, and some kisses. Loves you guys.